Hello, everyone. Would you like your venture, a person you know, or an organization that you enjoy to be a guest on the NoCo? Do you have cool ideas for a future guest? Private message us at the NoCo, all one word, on either Instagram or Facebook. You could also just email us at themoreyouknowco@gmail.com. This podcast is about the community, and I enjoy hearing from you, the listeners, about future directions for the show. This podcast exists to bring together and unite the areas north of Denver. Today's guest has that very same mission, but for a very specific part of our NoCo community. This episode features the founder and CEO of the Northern Colorado Veterans Resource Center. After serving in Afghanistan, today's guest felt a gap in civilian life when he returned. Not only in his own experiences, but for many other veterans he met in Colorado. He decided to do something for his community, and he started the Veterans Resource Center located here in West Greeley. Today's guest shares some very personal parts of his own journey leading him to today, so please give it up for Harrison Swift. I've often tempted to I have a splitter and give people headphones as well so they can hear themselves. Because hearing yourself really makes you feel very present in the moment.
Should I get my headphones?
No, you don't. I didn't bring my splitter with me.
Okay. Fine.
That's right. Okay.
All right.
I sit here with Harrison Swift, the founder and CEO of the Northern Colorado Veterans Resource Center. So hello and welcome.
Hey, thanks, Ivan. Thanks for having me on here.
And for those who don't know, what is the Northern Colorado Veterans Resource Center, or maybe you call it the NCVRC?
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Okay.
So what we do here is we're a central hub for veterans and veteran organizations to come together and collaborate and support our veteran community in a very efficient manner.
Yeah. So what are the different ways that you all support veterans in our community?
So the first way it starts out is we'll just have a veteran or family member give us a call. And then once they call us, we will start a interview process with that individual, which can consist of maybe an hour-long interview, 30 minutes. It really just depends on that specific veteran or family member. We'll figure out what that veteran needs. And once we discover what that veteran actually needs, we then refer them to the organization that can service those needs. So let's say a veteran gives us a call, and they come in and we interview them, and they happen to be homeless. We will connect them with Volunteers of America, who we have here in the building, make sure they're eligible for that program, get them enrolled, find them shelter for the meantime if they are currently homeless, or figure out a way to get them work, employed as fast as we can so that they can get a job and start getting that purpose back.
So you're kind of this water sprinkler system where people come in and you find out exactly how you can help them and which direction you should send them.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you connect them to a resource, do you all still have an ongoing relationship with them, or are you just kind of the connection maker?
No, so yeah, we definitely still have an ongoing connection with pretty much most of them. Some, obviously, we don't keep that connection with. After we work with them, they don't need our services anymore. They got it figured out, so they're good to go. Mm-hmm. There'll be some times where, it's an ongoing relationship where right now we started back in April. We got our nonprofit tax exemption, and we actually opened our doors up here in July. So we've helped around 125 vets, and we see probably half of them still.
And I was looking on the website page, you all also try to cultivate a sense of community. So it's not just about helping people, but also just giving a space for veterans to meet one another. And maybe they don't even, they might live down the street from a veteran, and they could be hanging out, connecting, and they just don't even know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, that was the biggest thing. I lost all my friends. The people I served with were my brothers. Mm-hmm. They were my family. And then when I moved out here, we moved to Colorado just because we thought it was close to Denver colleges. We thought it was close to Greeley. We didn't realize the traffic was so bad, but we discovered that out, and then we moved to Greeley finally once I found a job. But I was unable to find really anyone to hang out with. I had no friends. I pretty much isolated myself into my little apartment with my wife. She went out and got to meet. She made friends and stuff, which was good. But for me, it just wasn't a good time. I was pretty depressed, I guess you could say. So that's what we're trying to just get that isolation piece away, trying to just get it to not be such a barrier, because right now that's what we do. We get home, we'll isolate ourselves. We won't go out and try to make friends because sometimes we don't think we can be understood in certain ways, like we could with our friends back that we were serving with.
You just have this experience of camaraderie that's so intense serving in a frontline situation, or even just overseas. Maybe you're not in combat, but you're in a foreign place, and you have these people that you spend every waking moment with, and then when you come home, those people are gone, and it could be hard to, oh wait, now I have to remake friends, and we may not have much in common. We're not going to be staying in the same place. We're not going to be having the same duty here, the same purpose. And so how am I supposed to connect with people?
That's actually something I never thought of, but that's exactly what it is. It doesn't seem like we all have the same purpose. And when I was in the Marine Corps, so that's how I'll just say, like, when you're in the Marine Corps, you're all working towards a common goal and a common purpose. So you're all on the same page for the most part. And that's just a missing piece out here, which it isn't. You can find friends, like, which I've realized now, but at first I did not know for sure.
So what is your journey, your experience serving in the Marine Corps? What led you to be the founder of this resource center?
That's going to be a long answer. So
that's what we're here for.
All right. So I was in the Marine Corps from 2010 to 2014, and I was an infantryman. So I deployed to Afghanistan in 2011, where I was there I think I was deployed for seven months. And we conducted patrols twice a day. We also stood post for a long time, I don't know, hours on end, which was terrible. It was just sitting up in a little spot watching each perimeter of your COP or your PB, your patrol base.
Quick question. What is that like? I often see in like films and stuff, you think back to medieval times or even current things where there's like guards standing on duty at all hours of the day. I just think, what is going through people's minds when they're there for 8, 10, 12 hours and you're just watching?
There's a lot of things that go through your mind, which are like, some of them I'm not going to say on here, but a lot of them are, you're wondering, what the heck am I doing sitting up here? Like, is that, you just start kind of, you really figure out weird ways to make yourself unbored, because you're just really bored sitting up there. If you know what post is, if you sat on post, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's like you're just watching nothing until you're just waiting for something to happen, and it's one of the most boring parts of deploying.
Yeah, you and your brain right there.
Yeah.
And then you get so bored, but you're supposed to be alert at all times at the same time.
Yeah, so you have to actually somehow be alert and be actually on your toes the whole time, which is very difficult because you don't want to become complacent, which is something we always talked about. We'd always say complacency kills, and it was true. If you didn't always keep your eyes peeled and make sure you're listening and watching, something could happen, and it might not happen to you, but it could happen to a friend or, a civilian or kid. So, yeah, it was...
So you're on post, Afghanistan.
So, and then after that, we got out. So we left Afghanistan in 2011, and I flew back into Hawaii, which is where I was stationed at, got married to my wife, Emmy. We eventually decided we wanted to move to Colorado, picked Fort Collins off the map because we thought it was close to Denver and Greeley. We had no idea what we were getting into. And then eventually...
Why did you want to be close to both Denver and Greeley? That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. So I thought, because I wasn't able to get into very many... So before I joined the Marine Corps, I didn't do a great job in school at all. So I got my AA, but... a lot of schools weren't accepting me because my grades just weren't good. So I was having a difficult time getting accepted. So I thought, Fort Collins, hey, perfect. Boom, if I can go to CSU, CU Denver, Boulder, or Greeley, I'll get into one of the four, and I'll be in Fort Collins. That's an easy shot, which, isn't really the case, but that's what I thought.
Right.
So that's how that went. I got married, and then I went to school, which was pretty difficult at first, but I met some great professors, and it was really great. It was a good experience, actually. And then I went into grad school, and that was when, I should probably step back a second. So before grad school and before college started, I did lose quite a few friends from the Marine Corps. We'd lose one every other month for the year of 2015 to 2016, I believe. And so that took a toll. One of my good friends was one of them, and he was just a great Marine that always smiled and was always happy, and then for him to die in such a preventable way really shook us all, and kind of it was a really big shock, and it surprised the heck out of us. So once I started realizing how we were all pretty much not doing well, we were all fighting some type of battle, I discovered that there just wasn't the resources. There were the resources out there to be used, but they just weren't easily accessible. This is how this whole thing kind of formed, is I was like, we got to figure out a way to make our services more accessible to the veterans and their families, because what I was doing was driving down to Denver to the DAV down there to try to get my benefits situated, and I could I could have just done it in Fort Collins or Greeley. I didn't have to drive all the way to Denver, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of doing what I was told because that's what I was doing. That's what I did before. So I thought it was just gonna be like the military, but it's not the case. You have to make sure you fight for yourself now. Not you don't have other people fighting with you as well. But now with us here, we do fight now with you. So that's the whole kind of gist of this place. Is you come in here, you know that we're not gonna judge you. We don't care about your background, whatever happened. We're going to help you out, and we're going to fight for what you deserve, and we're going to do our best to make sure you get what you deserve.
Yeah. So you felt this need in the community. You felt like veterans needed more support and service up here in northern Colorado. How does that translate to you actually starting this? And now we physically sit here in this company and this nonprofit that you started.
That's another really great question there, Ivan. Because I honestly don't know how it all just worked. I had this vision obviously in my brain, right? I put it on paper. I made the business plan. I did all that stuff. I can only say that everything fell together. It just all kind of came together. And I don't know why or how, but I do believe that it was just definitely a higher power making me be able to do this.
The need from the community. I mean, I imagine from day one, the second that you help someone in a legitimate, sincere way, that just fuels the fire. And then they tell people, and then you all of a sudden, it's like you're being lifted up by by people who love what you're doing instead of you having to build it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So like after the first, I can't remember how long ago it was, but after the first time we did, we served a veteran. That's exactly what it was. It was like being lifted back up because I was pretty down. I was really nervous about everything because I was pretty nervous about, failing, honestly. So once I actually saw the need, that was like, I wasn't just crazy and that my research was like actually right, that was when I was lifted up and able to really kind of not stress so much about it, even though I do still stress quite a bit about this whole thing. But I really don't know. It just kind of, I have just so many good people around me. I have a great board of directors. I have a great team. Like everybody that comes in here wants to help, and they help in a good way.
Yeah. Do you often have people who come in, they're looking for services, you help them all out, and then they turn around and they become part of your alliance here? Yeah.
So we have a lot of veterans that will help out. We'll serve them in some way or another. It just depends. And then, they'll come back with some like ideas, or they have resources that we need to start looking into. We just had a guy bring us a bunch of info back today on probation and what we needed to do to help veterans that are on probation and what they could get for benefits. It's just stuff like that. A lot of veterans coming back with more intel or more information on different organizations and stuff like that. So it's been very helpful.
Yeah, that's good. And you all offer classes here as well, right?
Yeah, we do. Yep. So right now, though, we're doing a financial class at the moment with Mark. I always screw up his last name, Quarterlinen.
Okay.
He's with Edward Jones. And so we do that class. And it's more about, it's a budgeting class and retirement. And you can also learn, and it gets more in depth as it goes on. And then we will start having other classes as well on like transitioning employment.
Yeah. I noticed on your website that you also provide classes for employers who might be interested in hiring veterans specifically.
Yes, we do. So we actually provide, we haven't started them yet, but for any employer that's interested in learning how to find a veteran to hire them for the position, or they're looking to figure out how to retain veterans in a more efficient way, if they're having more of a revolving door style business, they can come talk with us and we'll figure out what's going on and how we could potentially help them find a good candidate that's a veteran, or to keep their veterans that are on staffed.
We were talking before we started recording here, but what misconceptions or kind of false ideas do you think people have around a service like this, or veterans who come back from their experiences?
So what the biggest misconception for this is, I guess, would be that when you get out of the military, there shouldn't be a need for a center like what we have here with all these different organizations together. That there should be there's a government organization out there that can help them, whether it be Veteran Affairs or some other government assistance, which just unfortunately right now just isn't the case. The VA does try to do a great job. They have great staff. They have people on them that really care, but it's a tough job. There's a lot of veterans out here that need help, and sometimes they don't want to go to the VA, or they don't want to go to a government assistant program. And I think that's one of a big misconception is a lot of people, including my family, believed like when I got out that I could just go to a certain agency and get whatever it was I needed, or find the support I needed, and it's just not the case. And So that's why we're needed, and that's why that's why we're seeing the impact that we're making on people's lives now. It's not just big things either. It's tiny little things, getting people tires for their car, or getting them a couple dollars to go grab something to eat. It's some of the things we do are so like small, but they make a huge impact on that person, because they know now that they have a place they can go to and actually talk with a veteran or another person that's actually going to care. So I think another misconception is that a lot of times people are afraid of us when we get back from the military, when we get out and they find out, oh, this guy deployed to Afghanistan or Iraq. Maybe we shouldn't hire him on for this job because I just don't know what he's going to need. He's going to probably have a bunch of issues. He's going to be a smoker, a drinker. He's going to dip. He's going to do all these things. I was actually told when I was looking at a place to rent that he didn't even ask me. He goes, so you drink, smoke, and dip. That's just not going to work out. And I was like, wait, no, I don't drink. I was like, yes, okay, I do dip, but I'm getting off. I'm stopping. I'm slowly stopping as much as I can. But he just assumed, like right there, so that was like my first time ever being stereotyped, I guess, as a military.
Didn't even ask you.
No, he didn't. He just said I did. And I was like, well, why do you think that? And he said, everyone else, every other veteran I've ever had did, and trashes our house. And, so that just was kind of odd to me. So I think that's a big misconception or stigma, I guess, is what it could be too, where employers are just afraid to hire us because they don't know what they're going to get themselves into. And I completely get it, because if I get it, I mean, it would be kind of, weird. Like, what did that guy do over there? Are they crazy? Did they kill a bunch of people? Are they going to kill us? Are they going to go crazy one day? Well, no, we're not. We're very normal. We just we went through a lot of stress. Yeah, sure. If we deployed everyone, even if you didn't deploy, you went through a lot of stress. But that's like everyone else in the world. Everybody else in the world has a lot of stress in their lives. I mean, yeah, sure, it's serving our nation, right? But we're no different than anyone else. We're also just a person. We're not any crazier than the next crazy person, Yeah,
it's trauma, and people have trauma of all kinds.
Exactly.
People have trauma here in northern Colorado.
Yeah.
People have trauma in their childhood or in their adulthood, and things go awry. And somehow we don't stigmatize other types of trauma like we do veterans who come back from service. That's
actually really true, and I never thought of it that way. But you're right. We don't look at other issues the same way as we look at a veteran as, oh God, they're a killer. And that's not what we are. We're a protector. We are there to protect. We're not in the Marine Corps. We always had a saying like, we're not wolves. We're sheepdogs. We're here to protect people and to make sure that the wolves stay away. And so we're not a wolf. We're not a person that just wants to kill. We just want to make sure our people, everyone here, is safe. That's it.
I think earlier you made an important point that people feel like when a veteran comes back, if they're having issues, seek out counseling, go to the VA.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, sometimes you come back, the routine's gone, the camaraderie's gone, the goal is gone, and it's like, well, I don't even know that stuff is out there. Or maybe a person is self-assessing and they just don't see it, so they don't think that they need any sort of service, but maybe someone else would agree that they would. And just talking and saying that out loud to someone at somewhere like here at the service center can actually get them, connected with a service that might help them.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head there. Okay, so I 100% agree that it's not knowing. I had no idea that I was having any issue. Like, I did, I think, subconsciously. I knew that I was having some weird things going on, like my OCD. Like, I was checking doors all the time that they were locked. I got married. And then my wife started noticing, what. She was like, hey, you got to go see somebody because you can't keep locking the doors or checking stuff and being anxious all the time. And I would never in a million of years have gone to a therapist or a psychiatrist. But with my wife, that wasn't really an option, so I did go, and I did it, because whatever she said, I did it. And thank God I did, because honestly, I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go at that point in my life right away, because I did attempt suicide 3 times, and, I don't know what those were, I don't know what that was about, I don't know why, but I do believe that there's a reason that they didn't work and that it didn't happen, and it may be because I started speaking with someone right away, so I was able to kind of think through it after. I don't know, or maybe it was just because honestly God wanted to make me, kept me around. I don't know, but that's it. And if you don't have family or a wife around and you're just isolating yourself in your apartment, you're not going to know. You have no idea that what you're doing is possibly harming you, because it's not like you're harming yourself, but it's not doing you any good. You don't know.
In addition to not knowing, maybe some people come back and they think this is how it's supposed to be. This is what a veteran feels like when they come back, and they just think like, oh, this is post-war mentality. And when they finally get the chance to talk to someone, they think, oh, I don't have to think this way.
Gosh, yeah, that's another good one, Ivan. I would say, yeah, you do. I believe that's what it was going to be like. I couldn't find a job for the life of me when I got out. I was trying to find a job right when I got out, and I was unable to get hired anywhere. I couldn't even get interviews, and I believe it. I don't have a clue why, obviously, but I think it had something to do with my resume, just because it was infantry. It was all military background. I'm a farm kid from Iowa, so I didn't do a lot of sales or customer service or anything like that. So the only type of job I could find was a mowing job, which wasn't, the best situation for me. It didn't pay very well. It just wasn't a good environment. So I just worked doing a hard labor job, which wasn't bad or anything, but it wasn't where I should be. I felt really low having that job because what I had been doing before it was so meaningful in my eyes. Mm-hmm. I was actually serving my country. I was actually helping other people. And then now I went to being what I was before I joined, just a person mowing a lawn. If that makes sense in my eyes, that's what, not that there's anything wrong with that, but in my eyes I felt like, yeah, and that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do that because that's what I'd done my whole life. So it just made my like thoughts of what it was going to be like out here more cemented in that, this is the way it's going to be, so just get ready. It's not, your life's going to suck. So eventually I realized that wasn't the case, but it did take a lot of time, and I had to meet other veterans and hear that they went through the same thing too. It's not just you that's going through it. There's other people that have also gone through it, and that's who you need to reach out to, is because they can help you figure out how to get through that time in your life that is really hard.
Mm-hmm. And that's why this center exists. Yeah. To connect people like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And just sit down with them. Hey, how are things going? This comes back to that 30 minute to 1 hour interview you were talking about. How can we help you? What are you experiencing, and what ways can the Veterans Center help you today?
Exactly.
Yeah. Starting the NCVRC, what are some surprises or challenges or things that you thought would, you may not have expected, or things that have turned out way different?
Man, I would say that the amount of veterans we're seeing each day is probably what's surprising me the most. Yesterday we had 15 veterans, I believe, we helped out. Quite a few in here. It was a busy day. Today it's not so much because it's about to be New Year's, so hopefully everybody's out celebrating for that, getting ready anyway.
Right.
I'm hoping. But I would say it's that. It's just how needed it. Like, I knew it was needed before, right? I believed it was needed. I did some research. I made sure I wasn't being crazy, but at the same time I wasn't sure if I was crazy or not. Now that we've opened and we've been able to actually help veterans, like you said earlier, and have them actually tell me, hey, thank you for doing this. What can I do? I'm coming back now, giving you more information. Here's some people that you should probably contact for the next guy that needs something. It's just been a really amazing experience, just seeing all these different people. It's family members. It's a mom, a dad. It'll be a sister, a wife. It could be a friend. There's so many different people that come in here just to it could just be asking questions. They literally just need to ask a few questions about a certain thing that's going on with their veteran or with someone in their family. And sometimes we're not therapists. We don't know. We say that right up front. We're not a therapist, but maybe they just need some space, or maybe they need, everyone needs something different. So we can tailor that conversation to make sure that they're able to leave here with a little bit of knowledge on how to go back and actually be happy and not be so scared for their loved one.
Right. How do you all find new people? How do you get the word out?
That's a great question. I would say, I think, honestly, the way we get most of our calls are probably coming from Facebook or word of mouth. Things like this, too, like your podcast or radio interviews. So, yeah, I think that's where it's all coming. I think Facebook is one of our best marketing tools right now.
That's good. People just find out about it from each other, or they share the page with a fellow veteran, and that's how they find out about it.
Yeah, and it's cool.
Are you all intentionally trying to find those people in the community who are veterans but aren't necessarily in these spaces? Like maybe they don't have a Facebook account, or maybe they don't know about it, or how would you even...
So the way we can find all those guys, that's actually not... The way that actually works is that's word of mouth. A lot of people go to the same, if you get out of a certain, let's say you're in jail or something, or you just get out of the military, we all kind of seem to, for some reason, go to the same areas, And then word of mouth somehow starts going. It's like bam, bam, bam. People start talking about it. Once one person, they can tell 5 people, and maybe 1 or 2 of those people will call to see what's going on, and then we'll at least get one of them to come in.
Not to put anybody on blast, but if you had to consider why this type of service didn't already exist before you had the idea, why was there a gap in Northern Colorado for supporting veterans who needed this?
I honestly believe, to be completely honest, that the reason some of these services, some organizations aren't able to collaborate or work together is egos will get in the way. And that's just not something that can happen, because if an ego gets in the way, that's just one person, and they're not able to work together because of that egos. A lot of the
egos of themselves, they didn't want to fail, or
it's like we had a lot of. There's certain people that just don't want that. They want their spot, and they want that, and they want their place, and that's it.
So like competing. So
yes.
would these be?
There's nonprofits that are competing. Yes.
Okay, and they're supporting veterans as well.
We're doing the same dang mission. We all have the same mission and the same goal, but for some reason there's competition. And there should not be competition between us. We are all doing the same mission. We all have the same mission. If anything, we should be working together as closely as possible and actually trying to come to a resolution to all this chaos that we're seeing now. We're having veterans dying at a rapid rate. That's just outrageous. It's like I don't even know what the number is now. I mean, I'm sure it's gone down, or I'm sure that's what the new number is. It's gone down, I'm sure, to look good. But we have no idea what the number really is, I bet.
You mean of veterans dying after they come back?
Yeah, we have veterans. Yep, exactly. We got veterans dying all the time from not just suicide, but from dumb stuff, from like overdosing. I had a buddy who died. He was just driving around. I'm sure he was driving not too smartly. Drove right off a bridge and went into the Icy River and died. I mean, and he just got out of the Marine Corps. That's just like one example. And for some reason, we're not able to get every organization to want to work together.
And this is interesting. We just mentioned this a couple episodes ago about how a lot of businesses and a lot of people, we have this illusion that competition is the way to succeed. But if we can reframe that to collaboration, if all of you shared all of the resources that everyone had and everyone shared the veteran contacts that they had, the community would quadruple, quintuple in size.
We would be able to serve so many more people. We would be able to we would save money. We wouldn't be spending as much money on services because we wouldn't be duplicating services. We wouldn't have organizations out there doing the same thing as another organization just down the street. We should be building each other up rather than trying to cut each other down. That nonprofit could possibly get bigger and actually make a huge impact on some people's lives. Even if it's one life that they make an impact on and maybe they save that one life, who cares? That's one life that they've saved. That means they've done a good job. Even if it's one life, you've done a good job.
And it's ironic because in the military, you have this group camaraderie, single goal mindset, a troop, lift each other up, leave nobody behind. And it's just, it's sad for me to hear that this is happening.
Yeah, it was honestly really surprising for me. I honestly had no idea what I was going to get into at all, but yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
well, thank you for starting the NCVRC and helping people out. And 15 people at a time, one at a time.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
And there are people who really enjoy what you're doing in the community. I found out about you all through a stranger who hit me up on Instagram who said, "Hey, Ivan, I listened to the show, but you need to interview Harrison." And so here I am. Yeah. So you are touching people in the community, and they greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything you want to leave with our listeners? I know you have a chili cook-off coming up, but
any
other events coming up in the future?
Yeah, we have a chili cook-off coming up on January 23rd, I believe, and then we have the car show at Cottonwood Squares, but that is in June.
Okay.
And I'll get the exact date for that later, and it'll be on our website. And you can check out our website at www.NoCoVRC.com. And then if any veterans listening now and you want to give us a call and learn more about us, our phone number is 970-888-4249. And again, that phone number is 970-888-4249.
And there's a Facebook page as well, if you want to stay connected in that route as well.
Yeah, and that's a good place. You can also message us on there, and we watch that. We monitor it regularly. And our Facebook page is Northern Colorado Veterans Resource Center, or it's at NoCo VRC.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Don't worry. We will be back soon, hearing from another person or a group of people on the NoCo. Who will it be? As always, I want to thank Russell Isaac Long for the music used here at the NoCo. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook for extra information, bonus content, and updates about guests who have previously been on the podcast. That's The More You Know Co., all one word. Original, right? Thank you for listening and supporting the show. Until next time, peace!